A little bit more about Teachers United before I get into it. So like Chris said, we're a nonprofit organization. We're young. We were only founded 2 years ago by a group of teachers, including Chris, in the South Seattle area who wanted to elevate teachers' voices beyond their classroom. So we work in 3 program areas. The first is policy, so getting teachers involved in policy making in education. The second is leadership, so finding ways for them to take opportunities beyond their school or their classroom. And the last one, which is the one I'll focus on today, is instruction, so making sure that our teachers are giving the best possible instruction to their students and are also sharing those practices across the state of Washington. It's a project we came up with to directly impact teachers and help make their dream projects come true. So we invited teachers in Washington State to compete for support to make those dream projects come true, things that they thought would really have a huge impact on kids. So we received a lot of submissions from all different districts across the state of Washington, and among them we chose Louise Wong's as our winning project. Her project was called Gearing Up, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. Brief overview is that she's asking for a set of microscope cameras, these really great technologies, along with a set of classroom iPads that can work with them in order to elevate the level of science her students are doing at Rainier Beach High School in South Seattle. This was a quote that I pulled from her submission that was one of many things that we really felt like why it was such a great project. So she said that my students deserve to have the tools that help them gain the skills necessary to become the next great genetic researcher or biotech pioneer. And she really believes in the potential of her students and wants to make that true for them. She's been teaching for 6 years, 3 of which have now been at Rainier Beach High School in South Seattle. She currently teaches biology, International Baccalaureate Biology, which is also known as IB. It's sort of a more rigorous advanced program, and as well as physical science. She's a great teacher. I think her test scores are one of many things that show that. So in the last 2 years that she's been teaching there, their end of course exams, which are a graduation requirement, in biology, the percentage of students passing has actually doubled in the time that she's been there in the last 2 years. Other people have recognized how great of a teacher she is, including the Rotary Club. So the Rainier Valley Rotary Club actually donated or granted more than $3,000 for her to take her students to do field work on the Elwha River. And the Parent-Teacher Association at Rainier Beach actually thought it was such a worthwhile project that they've continued to fund it, and this is actually, she's about to go on her 3rd year of it. She's a Woodrow Wilson Foundation Annenberg Teaching Fellow, and she also worked at Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center as part of the Science Education Partnership, where she got to pair up with Fred Hutch scientists and learn things that they're doing to take back into her classroom. And that was actually where she found out about these cameras and got the whole idea for this project that she submitted to us. So the goal of her project is to raise $9,000 so that she can get a classroom set of 8 lab sets. And the set consists of an iPad, a cover to make sure that when many students are using it, that it will last for many years, and then also this thing called the ExoLabs Focus Microscope Camera. And I'll just step back for a second and point out that these are all Louise's students that you're seeing on the slides. So this is the ExoLabs microscope camera. ExoLabs is actually a Seattle-based company. It's also a new company. It has these cameras that you can see right here that can either fit inside the eyepiece of a traditional microscope, or that can just be on its own stand like you see here. And what's great about them is that they project the microscopic images onto an iPad. So instead of the issues you have with a traditional microscope where not every student can see at the same time, and some kids are just waiting, or the teacher doesn't know what the student's looking at, everyone can see the image at the same time. And what's even better is that ExoLabs has a complimentary iPad app that's free to use and has all sorts of other analysis tools that students can use with the cameras. So things like labeling, like you see here, putting a scale. They can even take movies and make time-lapse videos of things like mitosis over time. So What we're requesting is support so that we can meet our full goal, and that means that we need an additional 5 sets for a full 8. And just so you know, each lab set costs about $1,100. The reason it's about is because it depends on how many we buy at a time. And some people have just donated small amounts, and others have contributed an entire camera. And for those people, we commemorate the lab set by engraving. Louise has 132 students. In 5 years, that means 660 students will be able to get to use these sets. And that's just in Louise's classroom alone, but what she really wants to do is make it so that she can share the lab sets with other people in her science department, and even the iPad has apps that colleagues in other departments could use as well. So many students will be reached.